My name is Thomas. I am 11 years old and I live in London, on the northern bank of the Thames River, in a narrow, crooked house on Cheapside Street. My father is a baker. This morning, like every other morning, I was woken by the deep bells of St. Mary Le Bow Church. Dawn is barely breaking, but inside our house it is pitch black because we do not have glass windows. Glass is for churches and the houses of lords, not for a baker's home. We have wooden shutters that we keep shut at night against the wind, which means we live in darkness unless we light a candle or the fire. Candles are expensive, made from tallow, rendered animal fat, and they smell terrible. Beeswax candles are better, but those are for wealthy people. My bed is a sack of straw on the floor. I share it with my sister Agnes, who is 7 and kicks in her sleep. We have a rough woolen blanket my mother wove herself. In winter, it is never enough. Our entire family lives in one room. We eat here, sleep here, do everything here. The walls are wattle and daub, wooden strips plastered with mud, straw, and animal dung. The floor is packed earth covered with rushes that are crawling with fleas by the time my mother replaces them. Fleas are constant companions and there is nothing we can do about them. My mother Eleanor is already up, stirring oat porridge over the hearth. The hearth is a flat stone with no chimney, so smoke fills the room. On bad days you can barely breathe. I do not wash every day. Nobody does. Maybe once a week with cold water from the well. Everyone believes too much washing opens your pores and lets disease in. But this morning I splashed water on my face. My clothes are always the same. A rough woolen tunic belted with rope, a coarse linen shirt, and leather shoes with holes in the soles. I have no change of clothes. If my tunic tears, my mother patches it. If it gets wet, I wear it wet until it dries on my body. My father William is already at work in the bakery below. He has been up since before dawn, kneading dough by candlelight, his forearms coated in flour. The brick oven dominates the room and radiates intense heat. Baking is harder than people realize. My father kneads massive lumps of dough for hours. We do not use fine white flour like wealthy people for their soft manchet bread. We bake with coarser flour, a mix of wheat, rye, and barley, producing dense, dark bread that ordinary Londoners eat. My job every morning is to help, carrying firewood, feeding the oven, kneading dough, sweeping, hauling flour sacks. My arms ache and the heat is brutal, but I cannot complain. My father says every day, "One day this bakery will be yours, Thomas. Learn now." I sometimes think about school, about reading and writing. But school is for sons of wealthy merchants and boys destined for the church. I am a baker's son and a baker I will be. For breakfast we eat oat porridge and stale bread with weak ale. Yes, even children drink ale. But it is watered down, barely stronger than water. The reason is simple. London's water will make you sick. The Thames is an open sewer. Every filth is dumped into it. The wells are contaminated by cesspits. Ale is brewed with boiled water, which somehow makes it safer. Nobody understands why, but everyone knows water drinkers get sick, and ale drinkers do not. London is the largest city in England, home to perhaps 80,000 people, surrounded by ancient stone walls built by the Romans. Inside the walls, streets are narrow, crooked, and crowded. Most are barely wide enough for 2 people. Buildings lean over the streets, each upper story projecting further than the one below, so upper floors on opposite sides almost touch. You can reach out your window and shake hands with your neighbor. And the mud. The mud is everywhere. No paving on most streets, just bare earth turning to thick mud with rain. It is mixed with animal dung from horses, oxen, pigs, and dogs roaming freely, rotting food, human waste thrown from windows, straw, and ash. In some places it reaches your knees. Today my father sends me to East Cheap Market for salt. I step outside, and my shoes sink into the mud. The smell hits me like a wall. Ammonia of urine, sweetness of rot, copper tang of blood from butcher shops, chemical stink from tanners. But I am used to it. I barely notice it, just as I barely notice the constant noise of vendors shouting, cartwheels rumbling, blacksmiths hammering, dogs barking, and the endless babble of voices. Walking toward the market, I dodge hazards. A butcher's boy hurls entrails into the gutter. Pigs trot around corners, rooting through refuse. A heavy ox cart rumbles down the street and everyone presses against walls. Then there is the danger from above. People empty chamber pots from upstairs windows. They should shout, "Gardez-le," from the French, "Gardez-l'eau," meaning watch out for the water, but not everyone bothers. A year ago, I was drenched from head to foot with something that was definitely not water. Since then, I walk down the middle of the street with one eye on the windows above, even though this means wading through the worst mud. The tanning district I must pass through is the most disgusting place in London. Tanners soak raw hides in vats of human urine, scrape off flesh producing piles of rotting matter, treat hides with paste made from animal brains and dung. The smell can be detected streets away. I hold my nose and hurry through. But East Cheap Market I love. It is the heart of London, vast and chaotic. Vendors shout their wares, fresh fish, hot pies, fine cloth. The market connects London to the world. Spices arrive from the Far East. Pepper, cinnamon, cloves, ginger. There are wines from France, furs from Scandinavia, silk from China. I find the spice merchant Gilbert and pay with silver pennies. A loaf of bread costs about a penny. My father earns 6 or 8 pennies a day. We are not rich but not starving, and in London that counts for something. After the market I head to London Bridge, the only bridge across the Thames. It is not just a bridge but a neighborhood on top of one, with houses, shops, and a chapel. But the first thing you notice is the heads. At the southern gatehouse, mounted on iron spikes, are severed heads of traitors left to rot. The first time I saw them I had nightmares. Now I barely glance. That is what London does to you. The Thames below is magnificent and terrible. It carries food, timber, coal into the city but is also its sewer. The water is dark and foul. On the bridge, I meet my friend Jack, the cobbler's son. We lean on the parapet watching river traffic. Then Jack lowers his voice. My father heard from a sailor that down south people are dying. A terrible plague. They call it the Black Death. I have heard whispers before, stories from traders about devastation in Italy and France. But surely it cannot come here. God would not allow it. The afternoon bells ring. Bells rule our lives. We have no clocks. Church bells ring at intervals marking canonical hours. Prime at dawn, terce mid-morning, sext at noon, none mid-afternoon, vespers at sunset, compline at bedtime. They tell us when to wake, pray, eat, work, and sleep. I cannot imagine living without them. The church is at the center of everything. My mother is deeply devout, praying several times daily, clutching her wooden cross whenever frightened, which lately is more often. Today at St. Mary Le Bow, after Latin prayers, Father Geoffrey speaks in English. His face is grave. Pray to God, children. A great punishment comes for our sins. In the south, a terrible pestilence sweeps the land. Pray it does not reach us. The church falls silent. A woman sobs. Outside, I overhear a merchant describing what Italian traders told him. In Florence, Venice, and Genoa, thousands are dead. The sick develop enormous swellings called buboes in armpits and groin. They burn with fever, skin turns black, they vomit blood. Most die within 5 days. The disease spreads through proximity. In some cities there are not enough living to bury the dead. Bodies fill mass graves. Some blame God, others blame Jews, foreigners, or poisonous vapors. No one knows the cause or cure. Physicians are helpless. I walk home in a daze. Streets that seemed ordinary now feel threatening. Every cough makes me flinch. The sun sets and streets grow dark. There are no street lamps. When darkness falls, criminals emerge. Thieves, cut purses, drunken brawlers. Night watchmen patrol with lanterns but cannot be everywhere. The curfew bell rings. Curfew comes from the French couvre-feu, cover the fire, because wooden buildings catch fire easily. One spark can burn an entire street. Everyone must be indoors with fires covered. At home, my mother has prepared supper. Thick pea soup with bacon scraps, yesterday's bread, hard cheese. Meat is a luxury, maybe once a week. Only cheap offal, liver, kidneys, tripe. The wealthy eat venison and swan on silver plates. We eat what we can afford. After supper, my father tells stories by the fire. Tonight it is King Arthur, dragons, and magic swords. We have no books. Books are hand-copied by monks, costing more than our house. Stories travel by mouth, generation to generation. I love this time when the outside world seems far away. I lie on my straw mattress. Agnes sleeps beside me. The fire has died to a glow. Through cracks in the shutters, I see a star. An owl hoots. A dog barks, then falls silent. Tomorrow will be the same. Bells, bakery, mud, market. But tonight I feel something terrible approaching. The Black Death is out there moving like a shadow. I want to believe London is safe, but deep down I am afraid. Thomas's fears proved justified. In the autumn of 1348, the Black Death arrived in London, carried by fleas on rats infesting ships at the docks. It spread through narrow, overcrowded streets with terrifying speed. Within a year, nearly half the population, between 30 and 40,000 people, were dead. Churchyards could not hold all the bodies. Massive burial pits were dug outside the walls. The plague swept across England and Europe between 1347 and 1353. 1/3 to 1/2 of Europe's population, an estimated 25 to 50 million people, perished. It was one of the most catastrophic events in human history. But humanity survived. With so many dead, survivors demanded higher wages. Peasants asserted freedom. The upheaval contributed to the Peasants' Revolt of 1381. The medieval order cracked, making way for the Renaissance, and eventually the modern world. From darkness, light emerged. Thomas's story reminds us that history is not just kings and battles. It is ordinary people, bakers and cobblers, mothers and children, who lived and suffered without making it into history books. To learn history is to see through their eyes and remember that people of the past were real, with real hopes and fears, and they deserve to be remembered.